now you're watching Super Achievers Making New India, powered by Voicewhat, the special show where we bring you inspirational stories behind some of India's biggest corporate successes. Today we're bringing you a conversation with Finolex Industries. Join us as we take a closer look at the company, its business philosophy and its corporate social responsibility.
Like many manufacturing industries that emerged post India's independence, Finolex Industries has one of the most compelling stories to its journey. Incorporated in 1981, Finolex Industries today are India's leading manufacturers of PVC pipes and fittings and the second largest manufacturer of PVC resin. Their ultra-modern manufacturing facilities are strategically placed in Urse and Ratnagiri in Maharashtra and Masar in Gujarat. The only PVC pipe manufacturing company having comprehensive control right from manufacturing of raw materials to the distribution of the finished products.
Thank you very much for speaking with us here on ET Now. Let's very briefly talk about the history really of Finolex and your own association and how the company has really grown over the years under you.
Well, let me take you back to just a few months before pre-independence. That's when my father left Karachi, which was then in Pakistan, and came towards Bombay. He came via Amritsar. He was hardly 14 years old, uneducated. But he had this spirit in him which said he wanted to travel and move around and explore new frontiers. So he landed up in Bombay, then he came to Pune. In Pune, he started working for one of our relatives, and he was given the job like a person who's cleaning the floor of a shop. It was a shop which sold clothes, and because of his hard work, he was made into a salesman. So from cleaning of the shop to selling clothes. Then he moved on to selling electrical cables. He would carry bundles of cables on a cycle and go shop to shop and do retail sales. So slowly he got more and more into retailing of cables, and then he came up with this idea of why not manufacture the cable itself. And that's how Finolex was born. And Finolex actually means fine and flexible wires, Finolex. That was the beginning, and going forward, increasing the range of cables from automobile cables to braided cables to electrical cables, telephone cables. He then came up with this idea of why not get into manufacture of pipes. Pipes being extrusion of PVC, cables being extrusion of PVC again, but on a copper wire. So started PVC pipes manufacturing, and he started it. He started the factory. So in 1994, we went into commercial production in the manufacture of PVC resin at our PVC plant in Ratnagiri, which is right on the coast, and we have the unique opportunity over there of having a cryogenic jetty in the open sea. Our raw materials like ethylene and EDC are imported directly, and they go into the tanks close to the plant, and we manufacture PVC.
Okay, you were talking very briefly about Make in India. I'll come back to that. But let's talk about how the market really has changed for your business, for your industry over the past few years. What are one of the two things that are really going to change the way things are being done? Technology, of course, is disrupting every industry, and how much of that do you use?
Again, let me just go back a little bit. When we started manufacturing pipes in India about 30 years ago, there were only 3 manufacturers, and today there are close to 3,000. So the barrier to entry to manufacture pipes is hardly anything as far as technology is concerned. So what we focused on about like close to 20 years ago was to focus only on the retail market, to focus on providing only a quality product of one kind of product all the time, same product, same quality into the retail market. And today we can boast of about 18,000 dealer, sub-dealer network across the country.
Okay, so I want to just take a step back, and you were saying that when you started, when your company entered this market, there were only about 3 players, but it has grown multifold. What would your advice be then about how you have managed to stand out from competition and how our viewers should perhaps learn those lessons from you?
Brands which have survived are ones which have survived long term are based on a single motto, that is quality. So they don't take shortcuts, they don't try to do too many things, they just try to focus on what they know best and keep doing that.
Okay, so when you're talking of quality, does pricing ever then come in the way of your competition?
Pricing definitely comes in the way, and that's why we are the most expensive pipe in India, and it's a way of life, because to be able to give you consistent quality every time requires that kind of an effort, that kind of a cost.
Okay, so talk to us also then about raw material prices and how they've been perhaps changing and how you have factored that in. What's your hedging strategy like?
We are what I call a dollarized company because our raw materials are based on dollar pricing. PVC, our final product, is based on dollar pricing. PVC pipes are based on PVC again, which is on dollar pricing. So being a dollarized company, it is automatically kind of automatic hedge. And the more we extrapolate the value chain is better for the company. So right from EDC to pipe, from EDC to fittings. So the longer the chain is better for the company.
Okay. What about the non-agri market? That is something that you are very aggressively chasing. That's something you're interested in. You've announced some partnerships in the past as well. What's the growth there looking like?
See, non-agri market, we have kind of not focused on except for the last 4 years. And once we got in, we said we have to go all out. And then luckily there came another break when this company called Lubrizol, which is the world's largest CPVC compound manufacturer, they are actually the inventors. They invented CPVC 50 years ago in America. When they approached us, we were delighted. We said it looks like a perfect partnership. So actually we have even made a logo of 90 because they are 50 years old and we are 40, so it's total like 90 years old. So we are introducing the whole range of pipes and fittings in CPVC. We are already have got our range in ASTM pipes and fittings and in the SWR pipes and fittings. So our full portfolio for the non-agri by end of the year will be fully completed.
How are you preparing for a post-GST regime? Is it looking good in terms of the industry, about the benefits you're likely to see?
I am very positive. I think it's going to help the country a lot. It's going to help the customer a lot, and it's definitely going to help the corporate a lot. Said that, I really don't know how it'll pan out as far as the documentation is concerned and all that. But barring that, I still think it will be a smooth ride. Okay, there might be a couple of months of hiccups, which is fine. I mean, if you're going for a change, obviously there is going to be some period of time where there will be some disturbances, so which is acceptable. It's like setting up a new plant. When you set up a new plant, the first 2, 3, 4, 5 months can always have the hiccups. So it's fine.
Okay, and most industries tell us that at least come FY18 and 2018 really, they expect that these changes will settle down. And I guess that's true for all industries. I want to talk about manpower. An industry specifically like yours depends very heavily, one presumes, on its workforce. What do you do to ensure that your employees are more engaged, that your workers are more committed and loyal? And how do you sort of measure employee engagement and employee loyalty? I
really don't call them employees, I call them friends. Because I'm most of the time joking with them. And most of the time when we are talking, it's most of the time joking or swearing or whatever. It's hardly about work, or because they know this guy knows hardly anything. So what's he going to ask? So if I go there and start talking to them, they are really foxed if I ask them a technical question. That's when they are taken aback, and then they enjoy it. Does it help to also have perhaps an ESOP plan or an employee stock option plan in place? ESOPs and stock options are important, I think, but we have not found the right way of doing it. Because in the Indian atmosphere, I think we are adopting too many Western ideas, I think even before we are mature enough, is what I feel. I could be wrong, and especially in manufacturing. So I don't really see that there are many companies who have done it, and that's what also holds us back from really executing it. So we also keep thinking about it. We also keep preparing our papers whether we should do it. So maybe we'll go ahead and do it soon, but don't know yet. Let's talk about what the future is looking like for you. First off, investments. I do know that you have a massive plant in Ratnagiri. You also have facilities right here in Pune, but what's the future looking like? What kind of investments, any numbers you can share with us? We have two verticals basically, PVC resin and PVC pipes. PVC resin, I don't think we will be spending anything on expansion, just maybe on the maintenance of the plant. Most of our capex and expansion is in PVC pipes and fittings. Traditionally, up till now, we've been spending close to between 30 to 50 crores a year. But now, over 3 years, we'll be spending close to 300 crores.
Let's talk about the government has been very proactive when it comes to Make in India, and companies that are making in India, companies like yourself that are made in India and make for India to a large extent. What and how do companies like you tie in with the government's initiative? What sort of benefits are you seeing? What more would you perhaps like to see?
I love this thing called Make in India because for the last 17 years, I have stopped exporting. I have not exported at all. So I make in India for India. And it's brilliant because you have a population of more than 1 billion. Geographically, India is huge. India is so diverse. You have different people, different cultures, different tastes, different likes, dislikes. It's a different challenge. So instead of going overseas and trying to attack small pockets, I believe our country is a huge potential. So therefore, our focus on Make in India for India has helped us a lot.
Any specific benefits that you've seen, whether it is, and for your industry, not just for you at Finolex, whether it is, say, subsidies coming, or is it easier to access finance? What are one or two of the biggest benefits that companies like you have seen on the ground because of this initiative?
On the ground initiative, for us, more than the points which you raise, I would talk about the things that the government has done positively. Many of those are infrastructure. Our road infrastructure has really improved. Our telephone infrastructure, that is mobile phone, data, effectively, cost effectively, economically, the spread, the depth is brilliant. So I think the infrastructure platform, which is getting better and better, will only make things better and better for being in India for India.
So I was asking you earlier about the use of technology in your industry specifically. How do you use it to maybe change your processes, better yourself, come out with better products?
So there have been a lot of changes in technology in manufacturing of pipes. For example, if you go back about like 20, 30 years ago, the equipment which was there, extruders are extruders, yes. But the equipment which was there would probably run at less than half the speed or less than half the output of what we get today. So which means over 20 years you've been able to double your output and not at double the cost, at a fraction of a cost. And more important so, the footprint of the extruder on the floor is still the same. So it's not that you require to give in more footprint to have a bigger output, all that. So within the same footprint, we are able to output more. That helps a lot in giving consistent quality because we run 24/7. So in that kind of a scenario, to have the correct machinery, to have the correct raw material going in, to be careful of what the temperature profiles on the extruder, what is the correct temperature of the water, that allows us to give the correct product all the time.
Without going too much in depth into perhaps what you specifically do at CSR, we'll come to that in a moment, but I would really like to understand from you the idea and the thought process behind wanting to do CSR, and how important is it for companies like yourself to show the communities they're involved in that it is important to do CSR?
I think it comes from every individual. Like for us, it comes from our parents. Our parents taught us to share. So it's not that we've always been well-to-do from the beginning. Like I said, my father was an immigrant. But even then, if you read his biography, he does mention at that age, with whatever little money he had money in his pocket, he was willing to share. So it's something within you, it comes from the heart. We are very good in manufacturing pipes, distributing pipes, and we have this heart to do something for the society, for the people who are not in the same category. So therefore, my wife, Ritu, started working on this project 16 years ago, and it's called Mukul Mother Foundation. It's our own private NGO where she does a lot of work for people in our society who have aspirations but don't have the means.
Time for a break. On the other side, we'll continue talking with Finolex Industries. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. You're with us here on Super Achievers Making New India, powered by Voicewhat, and we're bringing you a show on Finolex Industries today. Take a look.
Mukul Madhav Foundation was established in 1999 by late Prakash Chhabria as the CSR arm for Finolex Industries and is well known today for its charitable activities in the fields of healthcare and education. Mukul Madhav Foundation has been associated with several hospitals in Maharashtra, conducting free biannual medical health camps for the underprivileged. Mukul Madhav Vidyalaya was established in 2010 in Ratnagiri to provide quality English education at an affordable cost to the communities in the rural areas.
I do know that you're passionately involved with several different areas when it comes to CSR. So before we come to that, I want to understand from you what CSR really means to you.
Well, CSR has a formal name now called corporate, social responsibility. But for us at Finolex, as well as for the Chhabria family, it's been with us for over 25-30 years that we've been involved with the work that we do for the society. So from what my father-in-law had incepted called Hope Foundation, which was working for cancer patients, its medication being given for cancer patient, started way back in 1972. And thereafter, small sort of assistance and help being given to patients, primarily for cancer. Thereafter, the cause moved on to education, moved on to health and environment. The work that the family's been doing has not been under CSR, because that's only been sort of formalized in 2014, as you're very well aware. So truly, I'm happy that it's been formalized, because now everyone has to put in that 2%. And I think it's just made everyone more aware of what should be done around us. So in a way, the formalization has helped bring people, thoughts, and help towards the society.
Okay, what are some of the causes that are close to your heart?
Very close to our heart since the inception of Mukul Madhav Foundation, which is a separate entity on its own, joined arms with Finolex in 2014. Closest to Mukul Madhav has been health. We've been working with neonates, newborn babies. Not having proper facilities within Pune has been of prime concern. So we started with the pediatrics, then the neonates, and we've been doing that at the KEM Pune hospital since 2001. So our inception was in 1999, but 2001 is when we formally did convince the KEM authorities and trustees that we would like to do what we're doing, since Pune did not have a pediatric intensive care unit. Children were being treated in the adult ICUs. So we made that happen. Thereafter, we got ourselves involved into the OPD of the hospital, into various facilities of the same hospital, then into the neonates of the hospital. And we've been doing the same, and what our philosophy is basically to upgrade and uplift facilities that are existing, not building new ones, because I believe that somewhere, somehow, everyone sort of gets attached to knowing that around the corner there's a hospital or there's a nursing home, and they know it's close by, so they would rather go back to the same places. So the other passion that we've had, which is fairly new to Mukul Madhav, has been working for children with cerebral palsy. We have been involved in this project for the last 23 months, primarily in the regions of Satara. And identifying and making a hue and a cry for these children was something that we started off in November 2015. And since then we've been at it, so we are in many ways fighting the authorities to give them the due respect and their due recognition, because there's been no recognition for cerebral palsy children. And so in a way I've been asked whether I'm running a parallel government when we're working for cerebral palsy, and it seems like we are, because we're doing a lot with Finolex taking the lead, Mukul Madhav of course assisting them with every project. we have been able to bring a lot of authorities to understand the reason why we think this is important. So starting from identifying 500 odd children in Satara, we were then invited just a few months ago by the district health authorities in Ratnagiri and Chiplun to come and identify and assess children in that region as well. We've now seen 332 children in that region. So in a matter of 23 months, we've identified about 800 odd children. And happy to say that we've been very successful bringing hospitals within Pune. So 7 hospitals within Pune has come together with Mukul Madhav Foundation and Finolex to take this forward. So we've got teams of ophthalmic, we've got dental teams, we've got various different doctors who come along with us in order to do the assessment of these children, which is very important. And to do the assessment for these children every 3 to 6 months is imperative. And in the last 2 years, well, almost 2 years now, we have been keeping this group of doctors together and with an understanding that, you know, every time we go somewhere, we're all together. 2007 was when we entered into Ratnagiri. Well, Mukul Madhav was unofficially invited by Finolex, and we've been working on upgrading and uplifting of schools within that region. So approximately 16 schools were upgraded, uplifted in the manner of making sure that they have toilet facilities, they have overhead water tanks, you know, those the soak pits that they require for the toilets, because it's not possible to get them connected to the to the drainage and the sewage. Moreover, books and you know, uniform and sort of anything that they required, we sort of upgraded them before we started thinking of doing our own school.
Fantastic. One last question to you. How do you ensure that your employees are as passionate perhaps about CSR and specifically about the areas that you're involved in? Is it possible? Is it necessary?
It's definitely necessary. The team that I work with are, by God's grace, very, very passionate. I've got team members who have done their MSW, very learned people. In fact, they give me valuable inputs constantly because they know the norms, they know the ways of ins and outs of many places.
You're able to reach and tap into that network.
Not only tap into it, but you have to understand how important it is for time. So if you're having a surgery and your parents are sending an application, you need help, and it's done within 48 hours, I think we are very quick with what we do.
Completely out of time then on this special episode on Finolex Industries. If you have anything that you want to say to us, do remember you can always write in at leadersoftomorrowtimesgroup.com. You can reach us on social media using the hashtag LOT on Twitter, or tweet at me personally at Sunanda_J. You can call us on that number you see on your screen, or that's our Facebook page for you, Leaders of Tomorrow on ET Now. We love hearing from you, so do get in touch. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.